But you know what, John? The Rangers played games this week. Believe it or not, they played 2 games.
You wouldn't think that with everything that happened with Panarin, but yeah, we have 2 games to go over.
Right, and part of me started to think, hey, you know what? This was going to be the lead. Hey, there's no way to go but up. They won 2 in a row versus Philadelphia and Washington, and suddenly, hey, they're only 4 points out. Maybe they could right the ship. Mika Zibanejad getting an empty net goal. Maybe that gets him off the schneid. Alexei Lafreniere getting his second goal and his first game winner as a New York Ranger.
Second game
Artemi
winner.
Panarin. Oh, yeah, sorry. Second.
First game winner in regulation.
First one was kind of scored in overtime.
Yeah.
So, Chris Kreider, and a power play goal at that. So
much needed.
Yes, much needed. And the shootout win where Kakko looked very confident, just putting that puck in the net. And also, the deciding shootout goal by who else? Artemi Panarin, who had that brilliant assist to Brendan Smith. And things were starting to look up. We're going, hey, what can go wrong? Oh, we're going to lose our best player for an indefinite amount of time.
Oh, no! We suck again!
And then we're going to lose Capo Kakko to COVID protocol.
And Filipino might be delayed because of COVID protocol.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to joke around and say, they won 2 in a row. They scored a power play goal. I think you need to put a clip of Homer Simpson with the "This is the end" sign walking around on the street because of all of that. Because, when was the last time we saw a power play goal before that? And in a 2-game win streak? Hell must be freezing over. But
it was definitely at least the first of the month. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It seems like as Rangers fans, though, we can't have nice things because that happens and then we lose Kakko. And then we lost Hedl before that. Now we lose Panarin, and it's just it's one thing after another. And it honestly, I thought the Washington game was very, very well played. They were on top of things in that game. They were the much better team. Washington had times where they were in that game where they looked like they were threatening to really get back into it, but every time that they did, the Rangers responded and said, no, you're not coming back. And that was probably, in my book, the best effort I'd seen all season. And I think their 2 best efforts have probably come against Washington, funny enough. Both ended up being wins in which 4 goals were scored. So that was a great game. I know that a lot of people didn't like me saying this, but I didn't think the win against Philly was all that great of a win. I didn't think they played well. I thought they played just barely good enough to come away with the win. But against the team that had 7 players out due to protocol COVID and you won by 1 goal and it took you a shootout to do so. Oof, that's not good.
And on top of that, you weren't exactly seeing the best out of your star players.
No.
We were texting each other back and forth. And I was saying, what the hell is Anthony Bitetto and Colin Blackwell doing on the power play? And sure enough, Blackwell scores.
Yeah.
So I have to talk more. I have to talk more trash about him so that way he produces more. But also right now, I think Colin Blackwell's got 3 goals on the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got 3 goals. Mika Zibanejad has 2.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
You know what the sad part is? That sounds about right. That's how bad this year has gone so far. Is that somehow sounds about right? Just think about that sentence.
And they were starting to look a little bit better. And I still maintain everything that I say about potential players to trade or move on from. And because that's not going to change. It's contract situations. Even if this team makes a playoff a push, you got to consider moving on from players. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything for them.
No.
Like I was explaining this to somebody last night about Ryan Strome. If you keep Ryan Strome, then he's probably going to be left unprotected and go in the Seattle expansion. Because although we'll have to do a segment about this in the future,
Oh yeah.
but the Seattle expansion, who would you keep, and the players that are exempt, because there's so many things about that you just need to know. But again, they started looking good, and you also can't give away, because they're in such a hole. You can't give away points to Philadelphia. You can't make it a 3-point game. You got to make sure you hold that lead and start catching up the teams. I mean, unless you do Olympic scoring, which they're never going to do. To go further into the last two games, though, one thing that really helped in the Washington game was watching Igor Shesterkin just be really calm. I didn't think he moved. He didn't overcommit. He moved just as much as he needed to. The only goal wasn't a great goal.
No.
That wasn't it. But they were up 3-0 at the time, and the door was shut after that. So that's okay.
Yeah, I liked Shesterkin's performance in that game. I thought he was really good, aside from that one goal, which was really just a bad angle that he took, and it kind of squeaked through. Credit to Orlov for seeing that and actually getting the goal. But, I mean, really, that's just Shesterkin with the small little brain fart there. Completely forgivable. I mean, the rest of the game, I don't think he was tested too much in that game. But when he was tested, he came up big. So this is more of the Igor Shesterkin we've been used to seeing. I mean, Jacques Martin's got the team playing very good defense. And if they're going to continue to play that way defensively, and you're going to get efforts like that from Shesterkin on a nightly basis, like we did before the car accident, then you know what? Maybe they're going to be in a lot more games than not. But if I'm going to look glass half full, I'm going to look at Igor, and I'm going to look at this as being a chance for guys like Lafreniere and Kakko to come up and really start to take that next step. And if Panarin is out for the season, maybe Vitaly Kravtsov comes over, and we're looking at having Vitaly Kravtsov in the lineup and seeing what he can do. And I'm just hoping that Quinn doesn't put that whole, oh, well, if you make a mistake, you're going to see the bench mentality on him. Because, I mean, it seems like when the kids are allowed to just go out there, not have to worry about being benched if they make a mistake, they start to play better. Who would have thought?
What a novel idea, especially when the goal isn't. See, this is where the hard part is, because the goal was to develop right now. But David Quinn is judged whether or not he wins. So kind of a little bit of a contradiction right there. However, he's going to have to win in order to save his job. And I don't know. Do you think this might give him a pass now with Panarin out?
You know what? It's tough because there's so much that's gone wrong this season that you would think that he would. But even with what's gone wrong, I mean, before these last couple of games, they were looking at going on a downward spiral. And everybody was looking at wait, this is almost the same Ranger team minus a few guys. And then now they're all of a sudden they're free falling back into being a basement team. I don't know. I personally, like I said, I think this team needs a veteran coach. I think there's an overall lack of leadership. I've said that term several times. But maybe it does give Quinn the pass.
Two parts, two-part information and a question, I think. Obviously, we've been talking about this, that Gerard Gallant or Mike Babcock could be options. Mike Babcock taking the job at a college. Okay.
I have a feeling if an NHL team comes along with an offer and it's a pretty good deal, I have a feeling that he would probably up and leave.
Well, because that leads me into this question. No word yet on Gallant. And Babcock taking a college job, not an NHL job. Do you think there are coaches that are actually going to say, well, let me see what the Rangers situation is going to be?
I think so. I think it would be a pretty desire, and I'm not even just saying this as a fan of the team, but if you take a step back and you look at the roster and the way it's constructed, I mean, this team is set to be built to win for years going forward. You have two top two picks. You have 3 first rounders that look to be impact players in Kravtsov, Miller, and Lundqvist from 2018. You have a first rounder from 2017 who looks like he's ready to take that next step and contribute at a higher level if given the opportunity in Hedel. You have a franchise goalie of the future, and you have a good young backup behind him. I mean, they have a great prospect pool on top of that as well. So this team is built to be a legitimate perennial contender. I should say a legitimate perennial cup threat each year going forward. So, I mean, if you're a coach, wouldn't you want to be coaching a team like that? I know I would.
Oh, because that would definitely make the Rangers job much more desirable than going to Seattle.
Oh, hey, you still here? Well, you know what you should do? You should watch some of these other videos on our channel, like this one, comment, and share it with other people.